Good early morning on January 12th. How is everyone today? So, I had someone in the group specifically ask for a video on dominance. So, we're going to do an attempt at this. May do an update to this video later on down the road, but I wanted to give a short rundown. So, when we look at Bitcoin price, we see it, go surging up. When you see Bitcoin do stuff like this right here in these daily time frames, you see Bitcoin dominance do the same thing. So people are taking either selling alts and going back to USDT or USD or whatever stable they're using and going into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's dominance goes up. And then when you see the alts run, Bitcoin gets into a spot, settles down, and then you'll see Bitcoin start to pull back. And then you'll see the alts run because it's coming from Bitcoin to back to the alts. And then people say, well, why does that matter? Well, look at I guess probably the easiest way was look at ETH would be a good way to compare of what we've just seen over the past couple of days. ETH took off ripping, right? I mean, it's been on an absolute tear past few days. So ETH dominance goes up. Bitcoin dominance was going up. The alts went when Bitcoin sat down. The alts finally got their breath while ETH dominance going up. So that tells you everything was coming out of Bitcoin back in the alts. But then when this started going real hard like this, the alts kind of slowed down. You see, the alts have kind of chilled out. You go look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's coming down, but the alts really aren't doing a whole lot. You look at the list there. There's a couple, right? There's a couple outliers that have made the move. They're doing a little something. So, looks like the heavyweight is going into ETH or back into USDT dominance. So if we look at USDT dominance, it kind of took that little impulse bounce back up off the floor. So Bitcoin dominance being sold back to USDT. But when you see Bitcoin dominance falling and Bitcoin price sideways, that normally means alt run. And how this came about is because in the beginning, you bought Bitcoin to buy alts before stable was even come along. So instead of having a USD, USDT, USDC, you had alts. And then you had Bitcoin. And you bought alts with Bitcoin. That's how Bitcoin dominance came along, how it came to life. I mean, if you go back and look at the chart, I mean, it don't go back that far. But if you also look at how far it goes back, so that 14 to that chart, and you talk about all these big runs that the alts had, the 2021 run right there. So as you can tell, we need to we need a run. But you also, if you're expecting a big run from Bitcoin, you really haven't done a whole lot to get Bitcoin dominance back up here in this area to see the humongous runs, right? But we've also seen the ETH dominance do its thing, and now that you've got more dominance with other stables, it pulls away from how big BTC dominance would be, I believe. So when you look at one dominance chart, you almost have to look at several dominance charts to tell the story. But the main of it is Bitcoin dominance goes up, normally pulls away from your alts. Bitcoin dominance comes down, your alts run with it. ETH dominance goes up, it pulls from its ETH family. Normally they slow down, and then once this finishes and it starts to come down, your family normally goes up a little bit. Same thing with Btc.D. When this dominance is going down, of course Bitcoin roars, alts go. And you know, there's times where Bitcoin will go running, there's times when Bitcoin will go in like these chop situations here. When it gets in these little choppy sections, you'll see Bitcoin go and the alts just sit still. Well, that's because the Bitcoin dominance is the only thing that Bitcoin is the only thing that they're focusing on at that time. And it's more money's being put into Bitcoin than is being put into anything else. You'll have a couple of outliers on that situation as well. So being able to explain it, you know, to a T is hard to do without being able to have an exact situation where you're sitting there watching, you know, Bitcoin in a price rise or a price fall, and then watching USDT in the fall, watching ETH, watching TUSD, which is another stable that came on the scene this year, FDUSD, BNB, BUSD. You know, when you start looking at all those together, you're trying to tell a story about where the money's going in and out of. You know, are they going into stables? Are they going into alts? You know, you have to put together a storyline to see where it's coming out of and going into, and it helps you, you know, understand which sector is gaining more money during that time flow. Are your alts running? Or is your Bitcoin running? Is, you know, the stable coins taking control and the market's in a fall? You know, if you see it going back into USDT, normally you're in a stronger downtrend, and you'll see the alts bleed out. You'll see Bitcoin bleed out. So it's more of a storyline and something to watch, so that it helps you prepare. Because sometimes you can watch the dominance charts and it'll be moments ahead of what's about to happen. So, you know, being able to keep those in your watch list and be able to tell the story off what's happening is a cool tool to have. And, you know, watching them just like you do, you know, any other chart, and building charts for those as well, it helps guide you along. So anyway, I hope that video helps, and any questions, Discord link will be in the video. Come on to Discord and join us, check out the charts, and come hang out with us. Thanks, guys.